Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. I have said it time and time again that I think this LeBron versus Michael Jordan comparison is a media-driven thing. And then it seems as if Charles Barkley, has pretty much understood why this debate is still raging on, and he thinks it has more to do with ratings and actual credible facts. And things that can be substantiated. And he was recently on the show called The Volume. The question came up about, how he thinks LeBron stacks up to Michael Jordan. And Charles Barkley, in typical Charles Barkley fashion, gave you an unfiltered, blunt answer, which I love. So what we want to do here is play some of his comments, and we're going to come back and react and give you guys some of our thoughts. So before we go too far, take a listen to some of the comments that Charles Barkley had to make about LeBron James and Michael Jordan being compared. Take a listen to that.
You hate the debate of Jordan versus LeBron, correct? You're sick of it?
I think it's because I think it's lazy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Michael's been retired for 100 years, and why are we trying to worry about him against a guy today? I mean, I just think that because that's the one thing you got to understand. A lot of these guys are just, they do radio. So as a friend of mine said, who's a famous, a friend of mine who's a famous radio guy, he says, Charles, my only job is to get these fools to call in and argue for 4 hours every day. That's my job. And I said, what? He says, dude, that's the way this business works. I got to be on the radio for 4 hours every day. I just kind of come up with a subject that these fools going to argue with me for 4 hours. And it's very interesting. And that to me is like, you're going to get the old people calling in to defend Michael. You're going to get all the young kids calling in to defend LeBron or throw some Kobe in there. Yeah. And some of the older people are going to throw Kareem in there. But I just think it's lazy. Michael was the greatest I played against. I got a lot of love and respect for LeBron. He's a great, great player and an amazing man. All the stuff he's doing off the court, especially with the Promise School back in Ohio. Yeah. So I just think it's a lazy debate. It's just lazy. The guys didn't play against each other.
Sports completely different.
Yeah, it's totally different now. Yeah. I mean. Yeah, I tell you, Renee, when I was last year, when that last dance thing came out, I was saying to myself, holy shit, they almost killed Michael back then. Yeah. And then to see the way the game is played today, where a kiss on the cheek is a foul. It's like night and day what I'm dealing with. I'm like, Did y'all just see this dude almost get killed playing the Bull when they were playing the Pistons? I mean, it took him 4 years to get past the Pistons. They beat the hell out of him 3 years before he finally got over the hump. Yeah. Like I say, LeBron, who's amazing. I mean, you breathe on guys hard today. They're like, that's a foul. I mean, but that's just the way it is.
In my personal opinion, I think it's more than just about ratings and money, because I think every media company out there should be trying to get ratings. The question becomes, how are you getting your ratings? That's the real question. It's not that whether or not you should or shouldn't, because if you're going to go into business, the goal is to make money and obviously have a positive impact, right? There are people out there that make money that have no impact, and in fact, they have a negative impact, on things. And I think in the case of the LeBron versus Michael Jordan comparisons, I think that entire thing has been totally engineered and created by the media and some people in the media. Because if you sit down and really analyze the comparison, it actually holds no water. Like literally, it doesn't. Here are a few reasons why this thing is a total joke. To be quite honest with you, here's a few reasons. I'm going to list them. I'm just going to annihilate this entire discussion. Number one, Jordan won more championships in less time. That's number one. Number two, Jordan had way less help than LeBron James. We've done numerous videos on this, right? LeBron had way more help than Jordan and has won less. Think about this. The guy had more help, yet he won less. That's another reason. Jordan is easily easily the more superior offensive player. No one with a brain is going to question that. He's easily the more superior defensive player. Hence, he's made 9 all-first defensive teams to LeBron's 5, and Michael Jordan has a defensive player of the year. We continue to move on. So that's already 2/3 of basketball. I mean, you have offense, defense, and of course you have playmaking. LeBron is a slightly better passer than Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan is more clutch and he's more respected, and definitely he was more feared. Period. He was definitely more feared. And Jordan played in a more physical era, which is something that matters. And that's something that Charles Barkley was alluding to. And it's something that a lot of people don't pay enough attention to be quite honest with you, when we're talking about eras. And I'm going to try to find a way to relate this into modern things. Therefore, some people at least can understand it, because I think there's some people that have a total grasp on it, while others are still out there grasping at straws, trying to figure out why do people keep making this comparison. Let's try to relate it to business, right? Because I think a lot of people out there can understand business at a very basic level. Okay, so assume this. I'm going to provide you guys with an example here. Assume you have one guy that's running a business, right? And for this guy, it's very easy for him to get access to business loans with very low interest rates. Anybody that does business will tell you, anybody that's read stuff about business, usually businesses grow their company through debt or equity, right? You either get a loan or somebody invests in your company, they take a piece of your company out, and then that's how you get but nevertheless, you need money to grow your business, period, end of story, right? Unless you're in a unique type of business. But nevertheless, you need to make an investment. So you have one guy that has access, that has easier access to loans at lower rates, right? So it's easy for him to get a loan, and the rates that he's going to be paying back is going to be much lower. And that guy's doing business. Then you have another guy, guy B, or businessman B, and he's trying to do business, but for him, it's very difficult for him to get credit lines. And when he does get these credit lines, the interest is much higher. Who do you think would be more difficult? Who do you think, between these two examples, example A and example B, who do you think will find it more challenging to do business, given the fact that business itself is already complicated, has so many variables involved in it, and it's not a guarantee that you're going to do well, but who do you think is going to have a more difficult time doing business? Obviously, it's going to be the business guy number B, right? Because he has to face more challenges, because he has a pressure of trying to, get loans, also pay it back at a higher interest, which puts more pressure on him to actually make money, right? Whereas the other guy has a little bit more, has a little bit more leeway. Now here's the kicker, and here's how this relates back to Jordan and LeBron. Jordan is guy B. He's a business guy. He's business guy number B, right? He's a guy that had to face tougher circumstances and won more. Imagine if the second guy actually made more money and was more successful than the first guy who had an easier run at it. It's the same thing. Michael Jordan had to play in a tougher NBA where guys would beat the living hell out of you. And Charles Barkley was basically saying you got to look at errors, because in this NBA, if guys sneeze on you, you're gonna get a foul, and then it's an open lane. Those things matter. The physicality of the game matters, and it's the same way with these two business people. You can't just say, well, this guy is good, and that. You also got to look at the circumstances, where the guy is doing business, and all of these different things. And if you factor all of those things in, it makes what Jordan did even more impressive. Even more impressive. Think about all of the things that LeBron has had on his side to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to surpass Michael Jordan, and still hasn't. LeBron has had everything on his side. Number one, he's had more time. Jordan went to college, then he came into the NBA. LeBron came into the NBA, I think, out of high school. So LeBron has had more time to win, right? Jordan did it in less time. That's number one. LeBron James has had better access to medicine and technology. According to what I've heard out there, and Tim Grover just recently put out an article, they'll probably do a video on it. These guys have better access to better training, better nutrition, better technology. So LeBron has all of that at his disposal. That's another thing. He's had more help in terms of top 75 teammates that he's played with, and somehow, some way, he's found a way to achieve less than Michael Jordan. And the baffling part about it is people look at all of this and still come out there with a straight face and try to make an argument about this. It's total lunacy. But nevertheless, people try to do. I think anyone that can reason at a fairly basic level will be able to tell you quickly that this thing is not an argument. But yet and still, some people try to go out there and make the only way you can make an argument for this guy is if you use kind of obscure, obtuse kind of arguments to make an argument out of it. That's all. That's the only way. And the people that usually do that are the Nick Wrights of the world, who come up with these kind of convoluted, arguments to try to make a point, right? They take these kind of quirky roads and convoluted line of thinking just to make an argument, right? These are the only guys. And to me, I think Charles Barkley clearly, illustrated why this thing really shouldn't even be a comparison and why it's really a media-driven thing. And he's saying it's about money, which it is about money, but I think it's also has a lot to do with about agendas. And I think Michael Jordan is clearly better, period. Y'all just gonna have to deal with that fact. I'm a Kobe Bryant fan, and Jordan is better than Kobe, and I'm not sitting here, up in arms about it because it's just the reality. Then I move on.